Welcome to Animal Care Unleashed with Sonia. I'm Sonia Maiorano, Field Placement Advisor for the Animal Care Programs at Conestoga College. I'm also a registered veterinary technician, a certified canine massage therapist, an Ontario certified instructor, and a proud member of the ASMVT. But most importantly, I'm your host for this television series where we are connecting with professionals who inspire and guide our future animal care leaders. Today, I'm excited to welcome Marlies Beach, an RVT who works extensively with large animals. Marlies brings incredible experience in farm animal health, preventive care, and unique challenges in working in large animal medicine. Marlies graduated with a diploma in veterinary technology from the University of Guelph Ridgetown campus in 2016, and shortly after wrote her registration exam to become a veterinary technician who's registered. Following in the footsteps of her RVT parents and caring for animals has always been a part of Marlies' everyday life. She knew from a young age that in some way or another she would do this as her career. After helping on her family's dairy farm in the Netherlands one summer and working on a Jersey dairy farm throughout high school, working with cows won over Marlies' heart and became her passion. Marlies started at her current practice in 2017 and helped them grow the services that RVTs can offer on farm. Marlies now works almost entirely on farm, offering a variety of services from running calf health, monitoring systems, performing lung ultrasounds, dehorning, vaccinating, lab sampling, assisting with surgery, assisting with IVF setup, and collection and more. Don't get her wrong, she's still the occasional snuggles and loves them with her cats and dogs in the clinic, but Marlies thrives on farm. Outside of work, her life is anything but dull, running around with her husband, 2 boys, 2 cats, and dog, so they keep busy. In rare moments between her eldest son's hockey and lacrosse, Marlies enjoys all things outdoors, especially hiking with her dog, camping, swimming, boating, fishing, and quality time with her family and friends. She loves to escape from the hustle and bustle to enjoy the peaceful and quiet side of life. So Marlies, I'm going to start asking you some questions. So let's dive into today's topic, large animal medicine. So Marlies, thank you so much for joining us. To start, let's talk about what makes large animal work so unique compared to small animal practices. So what are the biggest differences between working with large animals versus small animals?
Yeah, so there's, I'd say, a few differences. There's the obvious one of size and temperament. So cows are very large animals. They're up to 2,000 pounds, some of them, when you're talking about some of our full-size dairy cows and beef cows. And then the temperament side. So obviously these animals don't tend to bite us, but they're still prey animals and don't tend to enjoy being restrained. And if you want to add on that, even like the average size calf is bigger than, when they're born, bigger than the average size dog. So that's obviously a really big difference, and we have to take a lot of those considerations into effect when we're dealing with these animals to keep us safe and to keep them safe. So the way that we restrain is obviously very different too. We require restraints like halters, shoots, sedation, and local anesthetic. I don't think small animal, they would probably bat their eyes at us doing surgery, as most of our surgeries are all done standing. They're all done on local anesthetic with very minimal sedation, versus in small animal, right? All of the animals are completely under general anesthetic, and they would never even think to not give them some sedation. And then there's things like what I'm doing, right? There are so many things in large animal that you just don't even think about and just are not even done in small animal. So like what we were talking about, vaccines and dehorning, those things just aren't done in small animal, or they're not done by RVTs. So that's a huge thing as well. And then lung ultrasounding and autopsies, those are all some other things that I do as well that just aren't done in small animal, or if they are done, it's usually done by a veterinarian.
Wow.
Where I'm working as well. So no safety of being in a temperature controlled clinic. My duties are carried out on farm. So rain, shine, snow, you really don't know like what you're going to get until the day happens.
Wow, that's a great overview. So let's talk about the physical demands. So what physical and logistical challenges do you face in large animal practice?
Yeah, so as we kind of touched on it, I guess in the other question too, was just like the way that we have to restrain some of these animals because they're so large and they don't generally want to be restrained. This job is very physically demanding every day. So you have to be able to move around quickly, whether it's restraining calves or you're jumping over gates or you're utilizing a chute, things like that. These animals are large and strong and can lead to being pushed around or kicked. So kind of like what I said before too was safety is always a concern. Our farmers work hand in hand with us, and they're usually very conscientious of keeping us safe too. And we can't work well, right? If no one's being cared for, if no one's being safe. So that's definitely always something that we keep in mind. And then logistically, like you said, as mentioned previously, there's a lot of personal organization required, as well as communication between myself, the other large animal veterinarians, as well as the clinic and the farmer. We all kind of have to be on the same page, as this is their livelihood. This is their monetary income. So we all take that in seriously, and we all communicate well between each other. So we utilize a good amount of technology. So we utilize Teams to communicate with each other, as well as we have a cloud-based veterinary software to really help us keep everything up to date. And then we're talking about working mostly mobile. So we do need a good amount of equipment like in our vehicles at all times. And then our farmers are really good about, most of them I would say are really good about keeping things in stock for emergencies or for the veterinary staff that need to come onto the farm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so some days there's a lot of driving as we cover like a large area. So that's really important to make sure that we have all of the things that we need, so we're not doing more driving than we want. Mm-hmm.
Wow, those challenges must require strong teamwork. So I guess leading in my next question is, how important is the collaboration between technicians like yourself, RVTs, and veterinarians in large animal medicine?
Yeah, so it's very important, as it is in I think any job and in any veterinary practice. At my practice alone, there are 12 large animal veterinarians on the road at any given time, as well as myself. So although our veterinarians all have their own herds, there's always crossover between other vets, say going to an emergency, or I'm covering something else for that day, or myself seeing a change in the care of the health of the calves. So that's really important when we're talking about, say, they're going to emergency for something that I've already talking to the farmer about, right? And maybe they delayed on getting it seen. So we do try to keep each other in the base all the time. And then in large animal, like, communication is very open, and everyone who visits the farm from the clinic should be on the same page. So we all try to make sure that even if we weren't the one that was specifically there at that time, that the other person that's going there next is aware of it. Mm-hmm. So is there a diarrhea outbreak? Are we doing a trial here? Should we be adding another vaccine booster, something like that? Something that everyone that goes there needs to know.
That's great.
All right, well, let's talk about emergencies. So what are the common, or some of the common, emergency situations you encounter with large animals?
Yeah, so there's a whole multitude of emergencies that happen in large animal. Farmers are really good at diagnosing things themselves and seeing what's going on with their animals and whether it really truly needs to be seen by a veterinary care professional or if they can handle it themselves. So I don't tend to perform a whole lot of emergencies just myself, as our vets are very equipped in this avenue. We try our best to make sure our schedule allows to have a vet on emergencies at all times, and then make sure our farmers are also equipped just for the sense of after hours purposes as well. However, there are times that I'm asked to assist with a delivery or a C-section or have my own set of urgent visits. So IV hookup on calves during calves that are maybe suffering from diarrhea, or autopsies done on any of the animals, assisting in surgery for calves with able abnormalities, kind of things that maybe don't necessarily need to be done this moment, but definitely can't wait.
Gotcha.
Well, it seems like beyond emergencies, preventive care is key. What role does herd health and preventive medicine play in your work?
Yeah. So herd health is extremely important, right? We're looking at the entire herd. We are not just diagnosing pregnancy and looking at what stage of pregnancy these calves are in. We're also assessing nutrition. We're assessing vaccine status. We're assessing what time of year it is and what stressors could be happening. So our farmers and veterinarians perform herd health together, as they're the ones who know the animals the best. So I do from time to time help with herd health in the sense of keeping records, or if we need to do herd vaccines at the same time. But I do also play a large role in preventive medicine for the calves. I vaccinate a lot of young calves and young heifers at many farms to assess calf health, calf care, and cleanliness, keeping in mind that like the pre-weaning period of calves is really a very important and critical time. It sets these animals up for success for the rest of their lives. So also, as mentioned earlier, perform lung ultrasounds, as many farmers use that as a preventative tool to diagnose pneumonia. So something important that we can look at and make sure that we're not over treating, we're not under treating. These animals have a good vaccine status, working hand in hand with the herd veterinarian and the farmer in any different situation.
It sounds like for perhaps students, this might sound intimidating. So what have you found in large animal? Like, what qualities make someone successful in a large animal practice?
Yeah, so somebody that likes to get their feet wet, get their feet dirty, and get in there, but being organized, independent, physically active, and flexible to reorganizing your schedule and really just getting in there, able to problem solve on your own and work well in different stressful situations, but then also be a team player at the end of the day. So being able to communicate and trust your veterinarians as well as your farmer is essential, and for them to be able to trust you.
Gotcha. So regarding career preparation, what advice would you give to students that are interested in pursuing large animal medicine?
Yeah, so just get out there, get practicing, volunteer on a farm, or travel around with another large animal veterinarian or RVT if you're able to find one. Speak your mind and let them know what you're capable of doing. So if you've learned some of these things before and you just want to practice and get some more things under your belt, then speak up and tell them that. Some large animal practices just aren't fully utilizing RVTs yet, and sometimes it just takes the right person to share ideas and to say that you can help them in this avenue and you can help them grow and provide more for their clients. You can only learn so much in school. Like school gives you so much, but there's so much more you can learn outside of that. So a lot still comes from doing the hard work in the field.
Amazing. All right, well, let's look ahead. How do you see large animal medicine evolving in the next few years?
Oh, it's already changed so much since I graduated. Large animal medicine has already evolved a lot, but there's always room for improvement, right? So I can definitely see more use of RVTs on farm performing more duties, especially with changes to legislature. I can see RVTs being trusted with more tasks, like utilizing more communication between RVTs and vets, but allowing us to expand services to northern communities, or expand services on farm and expand our distance of care. Those are definitely some of the avenues where I think in large animal medicine it's lacking. Just we're not able to provide physically some of the things that we want to be able to do. And I think if we utilize RVTs more in those avenues, we would be able to reach those next steps.
Well, thanks so much everyone for joining us here on Animal Care Unleashed with Sonia. A huge thank you for Marlies Beach sharing her experiences and insight, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, take care and keep learning.